you're joining me today in actually a very cool Porsche 928. You might be able to tell by the black and white Porsche interior what I'm driving. I've featured these cars on my channel quite a lot over the years. I've had loads of them. This one belongs to a mate of mine, and I've said to him that I'll sell it for him. So at the moment it's in my care and I'm just enjoying having it around me, really. But yeah, I thought it'd be rude not to do a quick video on it. So this particular car, you'll see when I show you around the outside of it, looks exactly like a launch model car, a 1978. So it's a single mirror, Porsche interior, Minerva Blue, which was a launch colour. No indicators on the wings, which is rare. Teledial wheels, and it's got the non-S bumper. So if you look at the bumpers on the early cars, they don't have the ram air ducts, which are for brake cooling. And they've basically got a much more streamlined UFO-like, super futuristic 1970s body, whereas the 80s cars had spoilers and the rubbing strips, and later on there was the S4, which was completely different, etc. But yeah, this looks like an early car, but it's not. It's a 1984 S, so it's got the 4.7 litre 16 valve 310 horsepower engine, 4-speed gearbox because it's an 84. So prior to 84 they had 3-speed. It's got a 4-speed in it. It's got ABS. The only way that you'd be able to really tell the difference between this and an early car is the climate controls look slightly different, and the early cars have an analog clock, whereas this one's got a digital one. But yeah, to all intents and purposes, it's got the earlier style 3-spoke steering wheel instead of the lozenge wheel as well. Yeah, it just looks like an early car, but it goes like a 4.7, so it's much quicker. This particular car is really well looked after as well. It's in a really healthy state of tune, so I don't think there's too many horses missing from the stable, and the handling's really quite planted, and it's exactly as an early 80s 928 should be, really. So it's got that floaty ride that tricks you into thinking that you're going a lot more slowly than you actually are. It's amazing how these cars, even though they're so old, they basically hide how fast you're going, so you have to look at the speedo a lot. So 60 miles an hour feels like about 35, and they've got this weird thing where, and if you know 928, you'll know what I mean, as they warm up, so when you start them from cold, they feel a bit stiff and sort of, I don't know, cold and stiff, but then once you've done a few miles in them and they're up to temperature, they tend to sort of soften and smooth out, and they drive really well. So I've done about 5 or 6 miles now, so the car's just starting to warm up, and yeah, it drives really well. Engine sounds awesome as well, as you'd expect. Nice throaty V8. I always think that the 16 valve 928 sound much better than the 32 valves. Although, being completely honest, my preference is the sort of 89, 90 S4. So the S4 that had the PSD and the GT exhaust and the digital instrument display. That's my pick of the 928. You know, if I could choose my perfect 928, that's what I'd have. And actually, one of my other videos, which is quite a small channel but fairly popular compared to my other videos, I review a left-hand drive Japanese import. If that car was a right-hand drive, I would have never have sold it because it's bloody awesome. That was a really cool car. So yeah, check out that video if you want to see me driving a later S4. But yeah, they're weird things, 928s. I feel like they're undeservedly unloved. I know a lot of people say that they are not as good as a 911 and they don't perform very well and they're ugly and all the rest of it, but I've got a soft spot for them, and I actually think that if you get into 928s and you kind of understand what their purpose is, they're great cars. And let's be honest, any 80s car now is slow. Like an electric car, even a Kia or something, would smoke any 80s 80s supercar type thing. So owning these cars now to me is not about how fast they go or how well they handle. It's more about their charm. And these just have bags of charm. They just make me smile. They're just a fun car to be in, but also they're comfortable, and you can do long distance in these cars in comfort. So I'm just going to go and find my usual spot to do a walk around video, and you'll join me when I arrive there, and hopefully no one will be walking around there. It's difficult because where I live, I can't really film on my drive because I live in a residential street, and first of all I feel like a knob doing it, but secondly it's just not practical with cars driving by. So there's a church car park that I use to film like exterior shots of cars and take photos and stuff. Whenever I'm there trying to make a video, I always get people walking by and talking to me, which is alright. I don't mind talking to them, but it interrupts your flow and makes the whole thing a lot longer. But primarily this video is a video to try and sell this car for Graham. He's owned it for a few years. It's a lovely car. It's a regrettable sale. He doesn't want to have to get rid of it, but his circumstances have changed, and unfortunately this one has got to go. Graham's a really nice guy. Graham's owned several 928s, and he's quite well known in the sort of UK 928 community. If you're into 928s, Graham Martin, you'll know who I'm talking about. He's done a lot for 928 owners, and yeah, he's a good guy. So I'm helping him out by hopefully flogging his car for him. Oh man, that is such a fun car. What I love about this particular one is how it goes like a 4.7S. It's really fast and handles very well, relatively for the age of it. But you get all of the drama of the 1978 single mirror, no rubbing strips, super cool Minerva Blue paintwork, and all the rest of it. Let's have a walk around it and a bit of a talk, and see what we think. So, don't you just love how bloody retro it looks to start with? I mean, that side angle there with no rubbing strips, no mirror, and no spoilers or anything. It just looks super cool, in my opinion. And the best bit's yet to come, of course, the beautiful Pasha interior. So that's another classic angle of the early 928. There's that 3/4 view there with that weird trapezoid, complicated rear quarter window. And I'm confused. You can tell me if you know for a fact, but I'm not sure if the earlier cars had silver trims or whether it was black. If this was my car, I'd paint those black because I prefer the look of it. Oh, and just to add, I love the plate. I like the ha. It's a bit of comedy there, and the car does make you smile. But also T-Reg. This is a personalised plate, if you like, to backdate it to a T, which was the UK first 928s came out on a T registration. So it just kind of gives it that slight look of authenticity on the plate as well. Because if it was on an 84, which I think will be an A or a B reg potentially. Well, it'd be an A reg because it's an August 84 car. Wouldn't quite have the same thing. So yeah, he's the guys Tim that did the backdate restoration on it has even paid attention to detail there as well, which is cool. This was first registered August, I think August the 8th or something, 1984. And it was registered to a guy that was an actor in some 1950s Hitchcock films. He was the first owner. Interestingly, it came direct from Germany. So it came from Carl Thiel, I can't remember the dealer, but in Germany somewhere. But it's a C16 UK market car. The original service book shows that it's a C16 car. It started off as a black car. In 2016, a guy and his son, just for a bit of fun, did a backdate restoration on it, and they changed the colour from black to Minerva Blue, which is a 1978 launch colour. The restoration is 7 years old now, and it is starting to show its age a little bit, but it's still a great looking car. So we'll just have a closer look. So on the bumper, there's a few little scuffs along there. And then around the headlight here, you can see evidence of wear there. I want to show you this because if you are interested in it, then maybe you're travelling from a long way and maybe you need to see exactly what you're buying. This trim can go back on, it just needs the clips replacing and fitting correctly. That's a fairly straightforward job. I know from experience because I've personally stripped one of these for a respray, and I know how all of the trim bits fit together. If you see my other videos, you'll see more information on that one. The 16-inch Teledials, all in great condition. They're all in a satiny silver, no scuffs or damage. The tyres are all basically new, matching Goodyear tyres. They're not very old. Body down the side is pretty good. There's a few, I'd say, hairline scratches here, but they just polish out really. It's kind of, the car is not in perfect condition. I have to be very clear about that. But it's perfectly usable for somebody that wants to just drive it and enjoy it and smarten it up. Let's have a look in here. There's a little bit of a telltale sign of paintwork where this would really annoy me if it was my car. They've not bothered to remove this rubber that's just been painted. Not sure about why that is, but the trims and the rubbers and stuff are good. The bumpers sit nicely. There's a small sort of crack there in the paint. It probably wants a smart repair on there. But on the whole, I mean, look at it. It's a cracking looking car, and if you want a truly unique 928 that's no one else is going to have anything like this, I dare say, not at this price point anyway, you're going to struggle to find one as good as this, I think. And I think on that note, let's have a look at the interior, because to me this is the best bit. So they had a partial retrim on the car, so it's had all new carpets. So all of the carpets are brand new actually, which is quite nice, including the boot carpet. 3-spoke steering wheel been fitted, and then yeah, the centres of the seats. So it used to have black leather. That's been retained on the edges, but the centres have been retrimmed in genuine Pasha fabric, and boy, do they look nice. It's so nice, it's making me laugh just looking in there. You know, if you want something that's completely wild, what more could be more fitting? I don't know. I'm getting excited. 4-speed gearbox because it's an 84, which is good. It's a full leather car as well, so it's actually got, which is quite nice because it's more common on the earlier cars. It has the full leather dash, so you notice around the centre console area, it's all stitched leather. So that's a shot from the driver's side. Again, there's it's 2016 restoration, so you've got evidence of wear. If I just zoom in on the seat there, you can see there's some evidence of wear there. The door's shut, just like a 928. In fact, I think the 928 has the sexiest door closing sound known to man. I don't think it's ever been bettered. Moving around to the passenger side, so again, door card, very nice, original condition on the leather, and then obviously the retrim, it's good. Carpets are all good, excuse my camera stuff there. Current owner Graham has fitted a Blaupunkt Bremen modern head unit, so it looks like a period correct Blaupunkt head unit, but it's got Bluetooth hands-free, phone connectivity, Bluetooth audio. You can connect SD cards and stuff into it if you want to. A shot of the back seat. So I think the back seats are pretty much unsat in. And we'll have a look in the boot. Keys wise, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 keys on there. I don't know what all of them do, I'm not sure what that one does. That is the boot key. And these 3, I know for a fact, will start the car. So it's got three keys that do the door locks and the ignition, and then a separate key for the boot. I'm not sure why, I guess maybe the boot lock was broken and it needed to be changed. The automatic boot release does work, but the catch needs adjusting on it. I can probably sort that for Graham, but at the moment I've not done that. So let's have a closer look. So the boot cop, it's new, so that's in really good condition. This is original, so you can see that it's quite sun faded. I'd have to ask Graham about whether or not there's any spare carpet, because if there is, maybe that can be retrimmed. Not much in the way of tools, by the way. There's a spark plug extractor. There's this is ridiculously rare. Sunroof winder thing, they always go missing, so that's a bonus. It has got a jack and it has got a wheel brace, but I'm not going to get that out. And then under here, the spare is included, but it's not kept in the car. The reason for that is we like to keep an emergency toolkit in there. But what we have got, and I just need to check if you can see it on the camera. Yes, is a ridiculous amount of service history. So I'm not going to go through all this, but there is a ridiculous amount of service history, and there's some huge bills in here. So just pick a couple. So it's had this car, even though the body's not perfect, it's had an absolute fortune spent on it in maintenance, all at reputable garages, 9 to 8 known specialist garages. So there's an invoice here from Lowbank for a load of stuff. It's dated July this year. So July this year, it's got a bill for 4,000 quid. All sorts of stuff, 4-wheel alignment, cam belt, major service, aircon, heater controls, the wheel spacers were fitted, timing belt, the list goes on and on. So then there's another one here from 9 to 8 Spares. That's a bill, I can't see a date on there, but recent, 3,800 quid for that one. A load of electrical repairs. There's loads and loads of service history going back years, and it's a 6-owner car, by the way. And then in here there's Porsche wallet. Now, sorry Graham, but I don't think this was original, because I think this is a late 80s Porsche wallet, but that's just me, nerd mode. Blaupunkt instructions. There's the instructions for the original radio, which was an SQR22 Atlanta. I don't know where that is or if it still exists. It might do. What else have we got? Instructions for the original electric aerial. It's pretty bonkers. Logbooks in there, and then you've got, I've left this open here, but there's a service book, the original service book, that was filled with stamps. So then there's also a replacement service book with more stamps in it. It's a very, very well maintained car. I don't know what the mileage is. I think it's about 130,000 at the moment, but it drives really well, and you can tell that it's been looked after. The car starts on the button, occasionally I've had it where it'll flood if you use too much throttle. So the way to start a 928 is quite simple, and you can't go wrong as long as it's working properly, of course. Just don't touch the throttle. Just put the key on. No throttle, it will start every time. And it sounds wonderful. It's a shot with the lights. Look at the lights. Oh, they're so cool. Let's have a quick look under the bonnet then. I'm losing the light now, so I can't carry on filming for too much longer. Right, let's have a look into the depth of the engine bay. So there's no foam underneath the bonnet, so that's something that you might want to add. And the engine bay really is just, I'd say, sounds like a silly thing to say, it's all there, it's all nice and correct and uninterfered with, well maintained. So you can see here it's got new twin dizzy caps, new leads, etc., new vacuum hoses, new brackets for the fans. The radiator is obviously fairly new. It's not original. Had a recent belt service, so the belts are all basically new. Same with the plugs. But yeah, just a quick look really. It's not. Oh, this is new. So it's good to see that that's been replaced. It's just a 928 engine that's in decent condition. You've still got the post cover for the hot post on there, which is missing on a lot of them. And if you want any more detail on this, please let me know. I'm happy to talk further or have a WhatsApp telephone call or whatever. And that's about it for the bodywork. I'm not really sure what else I can show you, but what I am going to do is I'm going to take it for another drive, and I'll just sort of try and do a review of how this car in particular drives, and not just about the 928. So we're back in the car now, and I'm going to do more of a driving review and talk about how this car in particular drives. So how does it feel? How does it drive, and how does it feel on the road? First of all, the best way that I can describe how this car feels is it feels very rock and roll. It almost smells like, not in a horrible way, it almost smells like you're in like you're in a leather jacket. It smells leathery, and with all of the Pasha fabric everywhere, it's a bit of an assault on the senses. It feels dramatic, and it's quite an exciting car to just sit in really and just look around and absorb the ambience of it. It's so wildly different to especially anything that you get now, but even in period, this was like a proper spaceship. Especially I know this is an 84, but the early ones, if you had one of these in 1978, you would be considered the man about town, I think. But yeah, so it feels good to be in. It's very comfortable. The aircon works fantastically well in this car as well, so it keeps the cabin cool. A lot of 928s are, they're like greenhouses. They're horrible if the aircon's not working, but luckily this one's all right. So yeah, it feels good, and as a baseline, just sitting in it is interesting and quite fun. The actual nitty gritty of how this particular car drives, I'd say it feels like a 40-year-old car. I'm used to driving modern cars for work and so on. I've got a Toyota Supra which is a year old, and being honest, it doesn't feel anything like a modern car. It does feel 40 years old, but it's actually very easy to drive. So with the automatic, it's a very smooth gearbox, and the high sidewall tyres, and just that it's such a well-engineered car. It's very nice. It just floats down the road. The brakes are really progressive. It's got, if you know Porsches, it's got typical Porsche brakes where they're not on off. There's an element of feel, and basically the more effort that you put in with the brakes, the more braking power you'll have. So it's not got, the brakes are really good, but they're not overly assisted. And it's the same really with the steering. It's got power steering, but it's really on the firm side, so you get loads of feel, and it's quite communicative, the steering. You can feel the bumps and the undulations on the road, but it's gives you good feedback, but not in a horrible way. It's a nice experience. Again, talking about the actual controls, the throttle on every 928, just how they are, is very stiff. So if you've never driven a 928 before and you feel that the throttle is stiff, get used to it, because that's just how it is. Yeah, this particular car, oil pressure very good, aircon's working, stereo sounds amazing. It's got one of the modern old-fashioned style blouse buttons with Bluetooth hands-free. There's a discreet subwoofer in the boot, so the stereo sounds good, and nothing really to report about it being untoward. It's just as a 928S should be. The kickdown's exactly where you'd want it to be. It's got ridiculous levels of power really for a car at this age, and it just floats down the road and does what you want it to do. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I could wax lyrical for hours about how cool these cars are, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're interested in this particular car, get in touch with me. I can do more footage on film or take photos if you're interested in buying it. And if you're just interested in the channel, then have a look at my other videos. There's a few different 928 videos. The highlights really are the gold. There's a gold 83 car that I've owned a few years ago that was a really nice original early 80s 928. And then the Japanese import left-hand drive S4. Both worth a watch. But yeah, that's it for now from me. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. Leave a comment if you want to comment on this car, or tell me something, or ask me something. Now, if you check all of my comments on any video, I always reply to everyone, because I've got relatively few followers, and it's easy to keep on top of the comments and stuff. So yeah, join in with the conversation, and get in touch if you want to speak to me, and if you've got a car that you want me to drive or review or comment on, give us a shout. But yeah, that's it from me for now, so have a good day and see you around for the next one.